fate of the young black youth for the state. Once you see the devil's horns, it's too late. Once the storm come, all you do is wait, undermining the fate of the young black youth for the state. With two strikes, the irony, the enemy won't bust a grape in a fruit fight. Label as property and tell us to get our rights. That's like my knife fighting for his life. Human contraband carrying a concealed weapon, praying to get to heaven. You gotta hear the insanity of millions of guys who don't know that they guys. They hide behind their squad on the stage so the hoes can apply. Don't tell me I'm wrong, don't tell me I'm right. I'm a beacon in the darkness of night, just bringing the light, visualizing the womb. The matrix, hatred, leads us out of the tomb. No waiting, see that day come soon. It's the apocalypse, nigga. Stand for wisdom, inherited from my father. My body's become a prison. My mind blooms, ideas flower, free from prism. Life is sweet and sour, war and serenity, slavery and divinity. They wondering what's gotten into me. I'm not a man or a god, I'm an entity. My ancestors sending me on a victory lap, just trying to be where Nipsey was at. Real recognize real, so I'm tipping my cap. Elevated, but my center's intact. The true saint come around, sinners react. The crusade back in play, and I'm on the attack. Came with the Tommy like Will and Men in Black. This is divine timing, ain't no turning back. Diamond shining, I remember we was cold and black. They sold my ancestors, but I stole them back. It's the apocalypse, nigga. It's the apocalypse, nigga. It's the apocalypse, nigga. It's the apocalypse, nigga. It's the wondered if this was a sin. What kind of hell am I in? I thought that you were my friend. Didn't know you would pretend. She would be there if the money is spent. Told her I need it for rent. Now she don't wanna see me again. First it was 5, now it is 10. Pockets is low, so I guess it's the end. I used to pray for you. I was a slave for you, but I guess it was a game for you. Never be the same for you. Can't believe I changed for you. See me, these bitches ain't loyal. No, if she resurrected for the rapture, I hope that I'm selected. I just need a second. Drinking the blood of the body of Christ. Eating the pussy like one of those nights. I was blind, she restored my sight. If I was blind, couldn't ignore that light. I just wish I could afford that price. I used to don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but terror and doom looms from error and sad tools. Comparison to that dude, I'm mirrored in that too. They scared of my bad moves, but I got a bag too. You better get back, move, because the missiles is locked, malicious pistols is cocked. The army very different from cops. I observe, listen and watch. Hall of Fame, the way I'm pitching the rock. The same shit from the lip, just a chip from the block. Nope, see, you niggas ain't ready. Nope, nope, you niggas ain't ready. Revelation, contemplation, transformation. It's Friday the 13th, and guess who playing Jason? You niggas ain't ready. Nope, you niggas ain't ready. Nope, you niggas ain't ready. Revelation, contemplation, transformation. Friday the 13th, and guess who playing Jason? It's me, nigga. I seen it in my crystal ball under the mistletoe. I seen this shit crystal clear. They feel like they getting close. The timing already here. They feel like I didn't know. My ancestors had me prepared. I'm using a different scope because the missiles is locked. Malicious pistols is cocked. The army different from cops. I observe, I listen and watch. Hall of Fame, the way I'm pitching the rock. The same shit from the lip, just a chip from the block. No, these niggas ain't ready. revelation, transformation. It's Friday the 13th, and guess who playing Jason? It's me, nigga. No, you niggas ain't ready. No, you niggas ain't ready. No, you niggas ain't. No, you niggas. Revelation, contemplation, transformation. Friday the 13th, and guess who playing Jason? Peace to the family. What's good with y'all? It's the Hood Mystic with another edition of me talking, I guess. I don't know what we doing. I just be thinking of stuff, being creative, but that's why I got a YouTube page so I can be creative. You know, shout out to everybody. Be sure to follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at The Hood Mystic. Visit me on my blog, hoodmystic.com. Shop with me, why don't you? ColumbianExchange.com. Book a reading with me, why don't you? Hoodmystic.setmore.com. How about you learn some astrology with me? LearnSidereal.com. Also, we got the Mystery School, where is a free social media platform. You can utilize it like Facebook, Instagram, just post stuff, meet people in your area, things like that. Trying to get it to whereas I get some cool people on there, it's a lot of cool people, all the people, that I make hosts, I really rock with, and I really trust their thoughts and their opinions, but ultimately, the family is growing and is expanding. Shout out to my Jupiterians out there. Focus on expansion, focus on wisdom, knowledge, and I'm not going to hold y'all. I'm not going to keep y'all waiting any longer. Just jumping deep and diving into this information. Today we're going to be talking about a little bit of news, a little bit of astrology, and of course we coming with some spiritual shit. You feel me? But I don't know, that was looking weird. But anyways, how your mama and them doing? How your daddy been? What's up with your grandma? Your uncle is all right? He all right? Is he cool? How your kids been doing? Peace to everybody that you love, that you value, who you got emotional attachment with. Shout out to the people that you got trauma bonds with, because we'll be talking about that. Like I said, we'll be talking about some news. I want to really somebody suggested that I just give my take on what's happening in popular culture and things like that. And I said, why the hell not? You're right. I talk about everything else. Why can't I talk about stars? Might as well talk about stars, right? That's a double entendre. Hope y'all enjoyed the music at the beginning of this presentation, as I'm just trying to try different things to keep people engaged, tuned in and tapped in. Off of what's happening out here in the world, but also in these esoteric streets. The title of this video, of course, we'll be talking about the new moon. However, in reference to the new moon, I have a channel from the goddess herself, Saraswati. Now, I know this is a channel because I'll be in the Google and reference and re-reference my channels. Did anybody come up with this before? Comes out, I'm the inventor of 1 + 1 = 3. Now I got another invention in reference to equations. It's a very simple equation, family, and it goes like this: 0 is equal to 1. Okay, if you can keep this in mind, you will understand the power of purification, the power of feminine energy, the power of the womb, and power of creation. It's not to say -1 is equal to 1, because -1 is a difficult disposition, but 0, purity, cleanliness, health, right? Less is more out here in these streets. You don't need to get a lot of money more than you need to manage the money that you already have. And I tell you, money likes when you manage it. Money likes when you manage it. So if you're having problems with money, it's not that you need more money, it's the fact that you need to manage the money that you have. So here we are representing the deep and transformative truth of 0 equals 1. I want this to stick inside of your brain. I want it to fixate inside of your heart that you don't need anything because you already are the universe. We've already discussed this, lecture 8, in our Learn Sidereal, I don't know, it's a learning center, a place where we just learn together and things of that nature. We put a lecture together titled One with the Universe, and we put it down unequivocally that we are essentially a minor universal understanding of the world or the cosmos, in the same way that the eye can't recognize that he is actually an eye, but he is a function of sight. The same way as we can't recognize our universal cosmo understanding, but we can understand it through function. We can understand it through what we build. We can understand it through what we create. Because when you look at your creation, shout out to my artists out there, my family Exodus, my homeboy Chris, right? My boy Brand Visions. I got the 3 musketeers of ultimate artists. I feel like, all residing in the mystery school. And it's like, when they create things with their hands, you can't tell me that they don't represent the God Force energy with their artistic expression. Now, the reality is that them 3 brothers is just a microcosm for the greater macrocosm that they are us, we are them, right? When you have friends that are artistic, when you have friends that are godlike, they are reflecting your energy, and maybe you haven't grown to their level, but if you can recognize it, the only way that you can recognize God Force energy and spirituality is if it is representing in you. If you can understand astrology, then you're understanding yourself. This is the deeper mystery. You are the universe. So when we talk about the 7 chakras, we are also talking about the 7 planets, the 7 classical planets, right? And so I'm bringing this all to light before we get into the conversation. February 6th, 3:33 p.m., a Learn Sidereal exclusive. When we do these Learn Sidereal exclusives, it don't be on YouTube, it don't be on Instagram. You have to be a member of the Sidereal squad of the Mystery School to get access to these lectures. And that's just the way it is, you feel me? Because, YouTube don't love us. Shout out to Suge Knight. YouTube don't love us, so we got to create our own platforms. We got to do our own thing. And because of that, I really do appreciate the opportunity to, host such an event and, have all of these masterminds and be able to kind of do my thing, teach and bring enlightenment. And I didn't even finish my thought, but February 6th, 3:33, learnsidereal.com. It's the late night version of the hood. The melanin is rising. It's past my bedtime, so I'm gonna be a little spotty, but we will not be doing no Junebug challenges. However, February 6th, 3:33 p.m. LearnSidereal.com exclusive. We're doing the root chakra and Saturn connection, the very most important thing in referencing activating your chakras. If you do not activate your root chakra, don't be talking to me about your throat chakra, your third eye chakra, your crown chakra, or your heart chakra. It sounds good, but the same way as I'm not going to get on Google until what, y'all? Until I cut my computer on. So to ground is to connect to the electromagnetic spectrum of the whole universe, for which you need to connect to in order to activate your spiritual abilities. So if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, or talking to, please join me February 6th, 3:33 p.m. LearnSidereal.com. You know, join, be a member. You feel me? RSVP. You feel me? Invite your friends and family. Hey, it's a social media. I don't know. I'm thinking of something, but I ain't gonna say nothing. I'll talk about it a little later. Let's get into this talk, however. We got a new moon tomorrow, y'all, going into tonight. So in reference to new moons, it's all about setting intentions. It's all about setting intentions, because why do we set intentions, family? Why do we set intentions, tribe? Because if we don't set intentions for our life, then somebody else is going to set intentions for us. And if they set those intentions for us, we are going to not be happy about it. So we could set our lives in reference to how much people support us, how much our job is giving us the satisfaction or security that we need, but 9 times out of 10, the thing that you're not needing is not giving you the security. And now that you're not getting the security from the thing that you think you need, now you're giving yourself an excuse to feel bad. Well, you tuned in and tapped into this transmission because we're removing the excuses for your depression and your sadness, but we're going to tune in and tap into these new moon intentions and rituals. So what we're talking about is a new moon in Capricorn. Now, the 10th house, it gets dignified or explained or defined as career, job, business. Now, that's true, but also is not true. Because if you just look at it like job, but it's not aligned with who you are, then if you're supposed to be imagine Beyonce, right? And she's like cleaning toilets for the pilot at the truck stop. And that's her first job. And her second job, she leaves the pilot, then go across the street to the Motel 6. And work 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then after, like, she working 16-hour days. But this is an alternate universe where she didn't actually tune in and tap into who she is as a singer. But, you know, she tuned in and tapped into one of her boyfriends that she met in high school that said, you ain't gonna never be shit. And she said, oh, I must not ever be shit. And this is what she cycles in her mind. Or she didn't get the result that she expected out of a boyfriend that she had, and she internalized the man's negative energy. And because she internalized the man's negative energy, she imagined that she was the energy that she absorbed from that man. And now she goddamn working 2 jobs. Imagine if Beyonce was working 2 jobs, working hard with a fucking 2-bedroom Section 8 apartment. And some of y'all saying, well, damn, Hood, is you talking about me? Probably. I'm probably talking about your ass. That's an analogy. That's a motherfucking razzmatazz that I do because I got a YouTube page. The YouTube page is a free YouTube page. Anybody can set it up, but I got a YouTube page, so that just makes me special, right? I know secret shit, right? Because I got a YouTube page. And so the secret shit that I know is that everybody has a hidden Beyonce within them. Now, in order to get this dream job or dream career, it's a simple method or a technique. Y'all want to know what that simple method and technique is to have your dream job and dream career? You integrate your higher self into your lower self. Game over. Simple, pimple, dimple. Okay? Video over. Y'all have a good night. You feel me? No, it's not that simple. So, of course, I'm going to show y'all something. If y'all can look at the Taurus in the left-hand
bottom sign of Taurus, the glyph of Taurus, you'll see the North Node. And then across from that, you'll see the South Node in Scorpio. Okay? That is the nodal axis. When the sun and the moon aligns with the nodal axis, we have a solar eclipse. When the sun and the moon oppose the nodal eclipse, we have a lunar eclipse. So these are major astrological points that determine major cycles, beginnings and endings, and overall culminations. Once in a while, though, we turn into Samuel L. Jackson and we get goddamn snakes on the plane. You feel me? Snakes everywhere. You feel me? You know what this is called? Where all of the planets are above the nodal axis. It is called a Kali Serpa. Now, a Kali Serpa is the point in time within the universe where you get exactly what you want. So a lot of people is talking about Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, as in reference to what is going on with them. And that is absolutely not what's going on with you. What's actually going on is what's been happening for the past 2 months is Kali Serpa, where you're getting what you deserve. But if you haven't opened up your mind to this in reference to who you are, you might be working at the Pilot gas station cleaning toilets, when in fact you should be working on your music career or doing that thing for which your spirit has brought you down here to accomplish. And as I begin to talk about certain things in reference to the news and explaining the breakdown of this astrology, I want y'all to keep this in mind in your personal life. How serious is your dreams? Are you serious? Like, what are you on this earth for? Are you really on this earth to work at a bullshit ass job, to lay up under a crusty ass nigga, to just be working, doing dumb shit? Oh, it's a party. They getting you in these goddamn loops. They go from Christmas to Valentine's Day to Easter to summertime, hot girl summer. Get the kids ready for fall. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day, back to hot girl summer again, right? The cycle never ends, right? So I'm saying all of this to say, at what point do you begin to figure out who you are? Now, at what point do you understand that that's the only shit that you should be doing down here, but yet and still you trying to make a crusty, dusty nigga that works at a 9 to 5 happy? He's working at that 9 to 5 because he's miserable and he doesn't even understand himself. And if he don't understand himself, he not going to understand you. And as we stated in previous videos, I did a video talked about men are the problem, which I'll readdress in this conversation. Yeah, men are the problem. So if a man does not love himself, he cannot love you. And in order for a man to love himself, he have to learn how to manage at least $20,000 to $50,000. You can't put a down payment on a house without that. You can't have a decent vehicle without that. You can't manage if certain things are to happen. Like if some shit happened, he not going to be able to support you, sis. You going to be trying to figure it out. He going to pull you into your masculine energy. And once a man pulls you into your masculine energy, it's over. A lot of y'all don't understand what masculine energy is. That's why you exude it so freely and so happily. But different conversation for a different time. When we're moving into a series of new moons that are occurring in Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, this is what we call Major League Baseball. Every new moon and every cycle and every development up into there has been practiced. Now it's very serious that you figure out what you are, because it's like y'all really don't get it. Right? You really don't get it, because you do the worship thing, you do the follow thing, you do the competition thing, and nobody is doing the download thing. Nobody is doing the revelation thing, because the revelation and the download and prophecy is not something that just benefits you. You're not on your platform in reference to spread a message. You're on your platform trying to figure out how to skim, how to scam, how to flim, and how to flam. And then you wondering why ain't nobody fucking with you, because people vibrate to authenticity, and authenticity has a level of consistency associated with it. Why? Because that's who a person naturally is. Y'all see people flip, y'all see people flop, and then y'all try to keep rocking with them, and that's like trying to stay on top of a wave, right? It's hard to stay on top of a wave. It's easier to stand on some stable earth. But stable earth ain't nothing real deep about it. It's just about being authentic. But even authentic requires evolution, because everything in reference to the ego, everything in reference to personal development is trying to trick you outside of the actual fact of what you need to be doing down here. So I'm trying to explain a new moon in Capricorn as integrating your higher self, but integrating your higher self is more of asking yourself a question of what you are, but then also understanding that you'll never answer that question, but you have to remain vigilant in asking that question. I asked a question, I posed a question in the mystery school, and what I expected to hear was I have no fucking idea, but what I got was implications and hypothesis in reference to who you actually are. Now, to not know who you actually are is okay to not know, but to assume that you know what you are is a fucking tragedy. That's a tragedy in the space of, if you don't know that you're in a vehicle and you get into the car and you start cooking dinner. And every day you get into your car, you start cooking dinner, but you never get a job because you don't have no transportation. But imagine nobody is ever going to tell you that that thing that you sitting in, cooking dinner in and eating is not a kitchen and a dining room, is actually a vehicle that can get you to and fro. But imagine you in a village and you have this device, and it's a vehicle, it's a car, right? But nobody is telling you that you need a key. Nobody's telling you how to turn the ignition, and you've never seen a car before. But you want to leave this village so bad. But you think that, oh, this is a place that I can get into and I can cook my meals and I can eat it. That's a tragedy in reference to the person that probably dies in that village and never leaves that village, and he had a vehicle the whole entire time. That's a real that's an analogy for attempting to know yourself, knowing that you'll never know yourself because you can't conceive of yourself, because it's like a 32 gigabyte hard drive. If you have 32 gigabytes, you're not able to conceive of every single file within that actual 32 gigabytes. It's impossible for you to conceptualize every single file, every single folder, and with every single file and component, exercise every single function within your actual hard drive. In the humans, in your DNA, the DNA code is more powerful than every computer put together, because if you were to break down the DNA microcosm code, you will get the same equations of the universe itself. So how would the universe recognize itself? It can't do it. That would be to conceptualize every single neuron, every single cell, every single planet, every single universe within the whole spectrum. And it's like, why do that? Where are you at today? That's the key. How deep are you trying to learn the vastness of yourself and just get a kind of sense of who you are? Because consciousness is everything. You will transcend and you will change form. And the thing that you carry is the actual muscle memory of understanding yourself. So when you look at a new moon in Capricorn, it's real easy to say, I need to manifest a job, or I need to manifest something externally. But the deepest intention and the most transformative intention, as you begin to unite, as you begin to do the deep dark night of the soul work, the only way that a person would do shadow work, if he knows that at the other end of the shadow work is his true self. If a majority of people imagine that they know who they are in reference to their true self, then there's no reference to go through the dark night of the soul. There's no purpose to go through and do shadow work, because everything is good on the surface. But if you start to examine and dig deep past the surface, you'll see a lot of effed up stuff. And the reason why is because nobody is doing this inner work. So hopefully you can be the one that actually does this inner work, because the inner work in reference to the Kali Serpa is your ability to manifest something beyond your wildest dreams. And the way that you manifest beyond your wildest dreams is very simple. It's a complete and utterly transformative mathematical equation that's been channeled to me from the goddess Saraswati herself. And that formula is a simple, amazing formula that I've never heard before or seen before, but it is 0 equals 1. From nothing, you get something, but you do not get something from something. So when you clear your mind, when you clear your space, when you make a simple living arrangement, when you take everything that you have, remove all of the things that you don't have because you're already abundant. Everybody has, if you're a homeless person on the street, you got things that you could possibly get rid of to free up space. So from the homeless person on the street to the millionaire, it's about cleaning house and making sure that you go through this new moon transit with nothing blocking you. But this is physical, and it can, so you got the sun expression, moon, subconscious, where your emotions, thoughts, and behaviors are fully charged. And this is the issue. You like a energizer buddy. Soon as the day break, you just react. You keep going and going and going and going. You never think to figure out what you are. Not who you are, not your personality, but what you are at a DNA coding level. Because I've already told you what you are, but me telling you what you are is not enough for you to fully grasp and wrap your mind around. You have to do that work. You have to fully integrate your higher self, because if you have a higher self and you can't clearly identify what that higher self represents, but it's a larger part of you. It is the part of you that is going to manifest. It is the part of you that's going to attract. It is the part of you that is going to allow you to live your best self, but you don't want to integrate it into your being. And understand, because you don't integrate your higher self, because you don't live in a 10th house mastery, you are depressed, you are sad, you are shadow projecting, you are mad at everybody, and don't nobody give a fuck if you happy-go-lucky and hitting people with smiles and, hey, how you doing? It's so good to see you. That don't matter. That don't matter. So, 0 equals 1. Let's get into some mechanics of it. Let's deal with some new moon facts, I like to call. And shout out to the Kali Serpa, which just simply means that This energy is like too good to be true, getting what you deserve, above the nodes, completely spiritual understanding and experiences, hormonal dispositions, changes in body, changes in the way that you think, really switching up your character, switching up your persona, doing a complete flip and switch around because you're fully integrating your higher self. And you don't fully integrate yourself, higher self rather, and not do a complete and 180. So imagine you being afraid to change into your best self, and you want to hold on to your trauma, you want to hold on to your pain, you want to hold on to your abandonment issues, you want to hold on to your fears, and you don't want to integrate your higher self. This is why everybody is like, Mercury retrograde, I can't wait, and it's so horrible. Venus retrograde, it's so horrible. No. It literally has nothing to do with that. Literally has nothing to do with that, because it's actually a positive. It's actually an extremely positive time. But the ego the ego will never change in reference to your personality, who you identify as. So if you say, well, who are you? I'm a kind, loving person. I work out 5 times a week. I'm a janitor. I'm this, I'm that. That's who you are, but that's not what you are. What you are is such a profound question that ultimately nobody gets to know. So let's get into some new moon facts. Let me get rid of that. Boom. The new moon will take place in sidereal Capricorn in the Sravana nakshatra on Tuesday, February 1st. The influence on this new moon give an indication of general themes that will color the next 30 days. So when you go into these portals, when you go into these new moon times, it's very much of setting that intention, because it will actually manifest and develop over these 30 days, the same way as setting a seed in the earth and watching that seed grow. Okay, it is a dark moon in reference to the dark energy, which reference the fertility that allows, it's the incubator for life. Why? Because 0 equals 1. The dark goddess is the only goddess that matters. Okay, Sravana nakshatra is considered to be the birth star of Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, creativity, and communication. So last night, I'm doing my research and whatnot, but then I'm just like, let me listen to Saraswati music and just get the download. I'm just going to listen to her. So I just did the meditation. Boom, boom, bam, bam. You feel me? And she came through heavy. You feel me? Let's deal with some understandings of the Sravana nakshatra and then correlate that to Saraswati, the goddess of communication, learning, and music. All things that require you to what, family? Listen. And you cannot listen. We talked about this in the throat chakra video that I just uploaded a couple of days ago. If you're not able to listen to yourself, it's because you're too busy inputting into yourself, because the conscious mind is telling your spiritual mind or your higher self, look, great God, goddess, knower of all things, I know more than you, because my mama and daddy, they saved up and they paid for me to go to college. I went to college. I got my goddamn bachelor's degree and I got a good ass job. They pay me $100,000 a year. So higher self, you don't be telling me what the fuck to do. I'm going to tell you what to do. And what I'm going to tell you to do is we need to be afraid. We need to be afraid of white people, and we need to be afraid of men. Okay? So protect me from white people, higher self. Protect me from all of these men out here that's trying to get me. The government, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. Let me tell you something, higher self. We need to be afraid. We don't need to unite with people and spread love and meditate. I don't need to listen to you, higher self. You haven't been where I've been. I'm from the rituals. You're doing offerings to the car god. You test driving cars at the dealership. You know, you're doing all of the deep, you pulling tarot cards to see if you gonna actually get the car that you can't afford. So it's like, if you're not able to listen to your higher self, you're not able to you're not able to develop spiritually, because each person's higher self has something specific in reference to what you should do. But universally, what I can say about for us all is that we all need to have an understanding of what our higher self is. The Sravana nakshatra is ruled by Vishnu. Now, Vishnu is the maintainer, the sustainer. Shiva is the creator. Vishnu is the sustainer. And always is Shiva, Vishnu. Always forget the third one. But another one is the destroyer. So how do you begin to preserve, and how do you begin to align to specific truth? You have to do research, and your specific research is said is glitching. Give me a second. Is it still glitching? It looks like it's having a glitch party. Yo, yo. Yo, yo. I think that fixed it. I don't think I'm glitching no more. I think. But where was I at? Give me a thumbs up if it's still glitching. But I'm gonna start talking because it's probably a delay. But it don't look like it's glitching. So the Sravana nakshatra is about listening or preserving or sustaining that which already is. Now, if you can interpret or understand or begin to vibrate to the thought of being on the path, and being on the path is not a place of permanence. Being on the path is not a place of success, but it's on the path of movement. It's on the path of alignment. It's like, if you know that you're in the right energy, it's a feeling. And when you know what, well, sometimes where you don't know, but you just feel like something is wrong, it's usually somebody in your life that you need to remove, or it is something that you need to change about your path. So, all right. Yeah, it was doing a little extra stuff. Doing a little extra stuff, but let me know if it's continuously doing the same thing. All right. All right, cool. So, the deepest spiritual knowledge in the universe is not on the internet. It's not on Google. It's not in an encyclopedia. It's not anything that you can find on TV or in your friends or nothing. The deepest spiritual knowledge is found when you can listen to your higher self. So the Sravana nakshatra is in Sidereal Capricorn. Sidereal Capricorn is about integrating your higher self. And this might seem like an abstract understanding. Like, how do you integrate your higher self? You need to meditate and listen to your higher self. But if your self-talk is louder than your spiritual, or your soul talk rather, or what your soul is telling you versus what you're trying to tell your soul, like, I need this, I need that, we need to get here, we need to do that, I need to meditate for inner peace, I need to do this and this, and like confusing yourself, but you never get into the fundamental question of just stopping and listening to the point of concentration and the point of focus. And when you think about Saturn's influence in reference to this new moon, it's intensifying the original fact. Because the original fact is, hey, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So when you have Saturn there, it's like times 10 for what it would normally be, where you normally would have to listen to your higher self. Saturn is more or less kind of tipping the scales and is really showing you that, no, you shouldn't be doing that. No, you need to stop ignoring your higher self. Why do you continuously ignore your higher self? By not specifically trying to integrate it. And how do you not integrating it? Because you do not meditate. Understand, if you do not meditate, how are you going to it's like, well, I don't want to meditate. I don't want to journal. I tried to meditate. I tried to journal. It doesn't work for me. I'm going to try to do something else. I'm going to try to do something different. And it's like, that's going to continuously confuse you. The channel that I got from Saraswati is that everything has to be down to zero, to nothing. And then you'll receive everything that you need to receive. You will consistently receive if you keep things organized, you keep things clean, and you keep things in the space of preparing for the best. And the reason that Saturn is there is because now is serious. A lot of times y'all pick and choose whether or not y'all want to meditate, meaning that you pick and choose whether you want to integrate your higher self. Sometimes you want to deal with your higher self like, listen, I'm the boss. I'm going to tell you what we going to do. But when it comes to your emotions, when it comes to your behaviors, when it comes to the thoughts that you concentrate and focus on, you have no real clue. Because the path is the path and suffering is suffering. And sometimes people can't differentiate the two. Sometimes people imagine suffering as just a natural way of life. And if suffering is a natural way of life, you won't value knowledge. You won't value spiritual development. You will value having more. Now, that's the idea that you have in trying to satisfy that which you feel empty at. You would feel empty, right? So you need to get more in order so you cannot feel empty. The reason that you feel like you need more is because you don't know who you are. You're already the universe, but you haven't sat with that thought long enough for it to resonate at an emotional and mental level. So it holds no effects that make you really crave spiritual development and personal development. I want to show y'all something in reference to this new moon, where people say it's gotta be Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde, when really it's this upcoming new moon square Uranus in Aries. Because the first decan of Aries is the Two of Wands, and the second decan of Aries is the Three of Wands. Now, the Three of Wands in Thoth Tarot deck is integrity. How will we explain integrity in this aspect? You cannot fake integrity. Let's see if we could. Let me get on Google real quick, because I want to just take it out of my mind. Just the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. The state of being whole and undivided. The state of being whole and undivided. Y'all can listen to people talk about white people and Democrats and Republicans all day long, because people who are divided, they will always have a problem. A person who is not whole is always going to have a problem. That problem is inherent in the identification or lack of identification. If you're not if your higher self is a part of your whole self and you don't specifically integrate it, sometimes you be like, well, my boyfriend got a lot of money, so fuck this spiritual stuff. Sometimes you might be like, well, I got a good ass job. Fuck this spiritual stuff. Sometimes you say, well, hood, I started my own business. Fuck this spiritual stuff. Hood, I found me a husband. I found me a wife. I found this great external thing that I no longer have to deal with this spiritual shit no more, because I was only dealing with this spiritual shit when I was down and out. Being a spiritual advisor, I've yet to deal with a person that texts me or message me or books a reading when they're high on the fucking hill. After close to probably thousands of readings, is generally a person is going to reach out when they're low down. The reason that a person would be low down is because they haven't integrated their higher self unequivocally outside the space of it being abstract. It's like having a relationship with a girl that you don't never see or don't never talk to, but then telling me, no, that's my girl, I fuck with her. Do you talk to her? No. Do you be fucking her sometimes? No. Do you hang out with her sometimes? No. Well, you in the fantasy world. I'm using that as an analogy for your higher self. You would never say, well, that's my boyfriend and I don't talk to him and I'll never see him. You could think it, but it's a fantasy. Now, what is your higher self? What does your higher self look like? How does it hold itself? What is it? What is this capability? If you was to really get into the nitty gritty minutia of your higher self, you would then be like, damn, my higher self is a goddamn planet in a fucking galaxy somewhere. I'm an aspect of a fucking galaxy in a netherworld universe, just down on Earth chilling. That's just an example. It might not be that. Your higher self might be an ant. Your higher self might be a rabbit. Your higher self might be a human being. I don't fucking know. It's not my job to tell you what your higher self is, because that would defeat the purpose of fucking life. Of life. To become whole is to be on the path, right? So I'm saying a new moon square Uranus is like learning to be that higher self 24 hours a day, not just when the cameras is on, not just when we looking at your Instagram posts and your reels and your YouTube videos, but regardless if we looking at you or not, can you unequivocally say that you've been putting in the effort to integrate your higher self. And this is the new moon intention and ritual, and or this is the reason why you feel like shit. You supposed to, but you ain't supposed to give up. You supposed to understand that when I tell you about these news stories, I'll elaborate on this point. You not your looks, you not your beauty, you not your wallet, you not your accolades, you not your success. It's your person. You are your consciousness and your awareness of who you are. And as we collectively bring our minds to this point, then we will see the earth change. It's very simple stuff. But if we're not trying to put our minds to that point, then there's no reason, like, collectively, if we're just continuously pointing the finger, shadow projecting, then that's what that's what it'll be, right? So if we learn collectively, like, look, I need to take care of my own responsibilities, and my own responsibilities are really centered on me actually knowing myself, then I'll be able to really make progress, and I won't be having the questions that I've been having, nor will I be feeling the ways that I've been feeling. It's no longer you trying to sneak the system or skate the system or be emotionally feeling as though, like, well, I think and I feel like, but it's like, you can't use that logic nowhere else. So why is you going to use that logic in your life? Like, if you was going to McDonald's and say, I feel like I want a McDonald's Burger King double Whopper with cheese Big Mac. The person going to look at you and say, do you want to buy that? No, I just feel like it, and I'm thinking about it. I've been thinking about it all day, McDonald's man. And I'm just coming here to share my thoughts and share my feelings with you. You wouldn't do that at McDonald's. You would say, I want a Big Mac double supreme Filet-O-Fish with sour cream. And here goes the money for it. And they'll make that for you. McDonald's is simple. Why is your life so complicated? So there's a tantric aspect to Saraswati called Matanga or Matangi. And she is a tantric goddess, and she is an aspect of the Hindu Divine Mother. And this Divine Mother is available. She's on the hotline, 1-800-MEDITATE. 1-800-MEDITATE. Yeah, that's her phone number. If you just listen to her, she'll speak to you. She is the goddess of music, the goddess of learning. What do you do with music? You listen to music. You learn. You listen to the words, or you listen to the thoughts that's happening in your life. But even deeper, the major part, which I'm expressing right here, is the speech. A lot of y'all is afraid to talk. How you afraid to talk? That don't even make sense. Afraid to speak. Because you afraid of how people gonna feel about you. And this fear, it stops you from learning. It stops you from developing. And it stops you from actually growing. And so you replace this by observing other people, and not even observing with the positive heart, observing like, I hope that that person fail. I hope that that person fall off. I hope that something bad happened to them because they not perfect and I'm perfect. Well, Matangi, Matangi, she's really the goddess of take me as I am. The most profound knowledge is reserved for those who listen. Now, I really want y'all to listen with the intent to hear, but it's a slippery slope. Because you can listen with the intent to hear, then you can start to program what you expecting to hear, and you actually not hearing shit. So what I want you to begin to do is to just try not to give yourself anything. Tap into a Saraswati, I don't know what you call it, a Bayhan or music. And they have like the music that goes along with it. Like it'll be like Nam Re Gay, whatever they saying. Try to say it. Why is you trying to say it? Because as long as you saying it, you don't know what you saying, but you trying to say it, at least you not thinking. And if you can actively engage in saying mantras, which is deeply tied into Tantra, because Tantra is just sound, it's not sex. So a mantra is also a tantra. Mantra, tantra. Mantra, my mantra, what I say, my tantra, what I hear. And this is a loop that allows me to stop thinking and start receiving. This is why you do it 108 times, 1,008 times. You do it over and over and over again. And when you start to do it and you feel like you're not tuned in and tapped in, then you just stop. Because you really got to let your mind go. But also another aspect of the worship of Matangi is that you have to revere women. You have to protect women. You have to love women. You can't criticize women. You just can't do it. And you know what? People are attacking our women left and right, and they shouldn't do it. Period. Our women are our goddesses. We come from women, dog. And I done met some rats, but I'll still put them over a pedestal any day of the week. I'm not coming from this position of a dude that ain't never got no love from a woman. I can get love from a woman, and it ain't about like we gotta correct our women, we gotta show our women, you know, how to do this and do that. Fuck no. We have to figure out how to become men. That's the key. And if we figure that part out, then ultimately, right, your wife or whoever is coming up under you is going to respect you for the person that you are. But you also have to be communicative and alert and aware every single day. And it's not my words. It's really the words of Matangi. And as I'm looking at all these YouTube people and everybody just going in on women, and it's like nobody is actually looking at their personal situations and trying to better their personal situations, but more or less trying to make excuses and reasons for, right? Like, I can easily just be like, you know, it's because women ain't this or women ain't that. And this is just some normal conversation. And what you'll start to see, I'm not wishing bad on anybody, but I'm explaining that one woman is all women, and all women is one woman. All women are connected. All women are psychics. All women are mothers. All women are nurturers. And you can say, well, hood, not my girlfriend, not my baby mama, whatever the case may be, but you chose them. And you probably didn't lead, and you probably didn't direct, and you didn't speak correct English. You was probably scamming and flamming to get some pussy. And the thing about women, they will check you on your shit. They can't help it. So it's not the problem if she checking me on my shit. What's the problem if I'm not checking myself on my shit? Now it becomes to be an actual problem, right? So really getting into the space of understanding the womb and the feminine energy is how you're actually going to manifest. Because everybody needs to receive divine light. So when we reference the divine feminine, where you might say, see a woman, we're using divine feminine as an analogy for a cosm, a macrocosm of the micro. So we can understand how women operate, which gives us an idea of how goddesses operate. But a goddess is more of a spiritual concept of receiving crucial light. If you have an idea that you're trying to manifest, you could be having a bad idea that you're trying to manifest. What you need to do? You need to receive a better idea, different idea, new idea. This is where you would come to the goddess. I need to receive new light and information. And you as a human being, take that light and transmute it with your skills and abilities and talents. Michael Jackson never wrote no songs or sung no songs. Michael Jackson transmuted angelic information and angelic codes. The man's name was Michael. What is Michael? Michael is an angel, fam. Like, Michael is a real angel. Michael is a real angel. And what he did was real angel shit. He sung at particular frequencies, tone, and pitches that hypnotize the masses. The only way that you operate at that level is if you was a god. And he didn't do it when he was 30. The boy been singing like an angel since he was 5. With Diana Ross, Motown, all of the greats, the legends. Then grew up as a man and put out Thriller, one of the greatest selling CDs of all time. What I'm laying out is that you don't get that just by being a normal person. You get that by integrating your higher self. But how do you integrate your higher self? You communicate, but you cannot communicate without listening. This is where you get into the energy of the sublime, where you want to really make a mark. You really want to make some money out here in these streets. If you only attracting 2 or 3 people from the shit that you doing, it's just because it ain't working. And instead of pushing the issue, stop for a second, integrate to your higher self. What I mean, listen to yourself to the point that you begin to communicate a sublime message, probably something that nobody ever heard before. That's the only way we gonna know. Seeing something that we ain't never seen before. It's something you can meditate and see that painting. That painting that you're about to draw, and you about to just bring it down into the 3D. And it's the best painting that you ever did do. And then you sell it for $50,000. Or you sell it as an NFT. But then you sell goddamn 50 of them like that. Where did you get the talent or the know-how to begin to create such masterful works? You become a receiver of divine light. A receiver is the aspect of the goddess, not the girl, not the woman, but the goddess, the spiritual aspect of divine feminine energy. So, Matangi, Saraswati, very much deep, close relators of cosmic information, and some of the people that they have worked with are Michael Jackson and Prince. Now, this is just the download. This is just the channel. And I'm giving y'all this because I'm just a crazy dude on YouTube. But if you start to listen to your higher self, if you start to transmute some of this celestial information, then you will understand that I'm the communicator of serious channeled messages. And just because I'm doing it, it don't make me great. What makes it great is if you listen to your higher self. And this is not even some hard shit to do, but reducing your intentions, reducing what you want, and really subjugating that energy into gnosis, into the desire to know. And I promise you, the work that comes out of this process, you will be able to manifest and get all of you want without actually focusing on what you want. And that's really the sweet spot. That's really being on the path. But let's get into some news, right? Let's do our little break and let's talk about some news. Why don't we? Like I said, I ain't talking about the women. I'm talking about the dudes. I'm just using this as it just blows my mind, really. And it ain't nothing about nothing. It's just kind of like a normal thing that we just kind of getting used to. And our women is just kind of accepting. But I don't care, you know, because if dudes were saying, you know what, we going to marry our black women, you think our black women to say no? You think our black women is going to turn down a man that has been preparing for his queen his whole life, saving and working and putting it back, and not even risking and waiting for that time of nothing until he's ready and stepping to you and saying, you know what, ma? You about to be my wife. You about to be the mother of my children. And we going to spend the rest of our life together. You think our black women to say, you know what, nigga? I ain't fucking with you. I ain't fucking with that. No, nigga. This nigga said he was trying to marry me, girl, and trying to take care of me for the rest of my life. I ain't fucking with that, nigga. But you know what our black women got to deal with? They got to deal with our men being confused as fuck. Not even knowing what to do or how to handle life and when life comes, because you know what we were so interested in? That sweet black pussy. We wanted them sweet guts. We wanted to deep dive into that vagina, and we did not want to lead and protect and guide our women. We wanted that pussy. And so when she got pregnant, that was just a result of us having sex while she was ovulating. It wasn't an actual channeling of divine light and transmuting it into a new human being. We were just getting our rocks off. And Rihanna not just a regular girl either. Rihanna is a damn billionaire, man. Pop star Rihanna's net worth is estimated at 1.7 billion, making her the richest woman musician in the world. So the richest woman in the world is a baby mama, and I'm just not, it just don't sit right with me, family. And the reason why it don't sit right with me is because before I was going, you can ask my wife. I told my wife I'm gonna call this video baby mama culture, or why is black people always got baby mamas and everybody else got wives? Why Sally Sue and goddamn Craig, old ugly ass, they married in old ugly bliss, but I'm halfway decent. But I don't got it all to figure it out, right? And I don't got nothing for which to do nothing. And I just gotta be on this bitch lonely and nobody to love me. And we expect our black women to do a seance, ritual, burn candles so we can get our shit together. It's not our women's job to get us together. We cannot talk to women and tell them that they are the problem when we are the leaders. Our women don't have no choice but to be baby mamas because they can't say, marry me, nigga. Marry me. Take care of me. Be my provider. Be my security. She can't do that. Because even if she do that, she know inherently within her heart, it's only going to make it worse because you're not going to do it. You're going to use that as the reason to leave. And what do? We leave. Why do we leave? You can say, oh, cause she this, cause she that, but you don't leave and go sit in your fucking room like Brandy. No, you be up under the next bitch and you got your kids in another house with another dude around your kids. Cause the same cycle happened with your baby mama. Now you got 2 baby mamas. Now you got 3 baby mamas. It's not the woman's fault that you got 4 baby mamas. That's your dick. That's your penis. And this is what our culture, this is the top of the top. This is the upper echelon. And she can't even put out the image that, hey, marry before you carry. At least try to put yourself in that game. Play that game as hard as you can. If you a virgin, stay a virgin. Don't imagine that the person that you fuck without no commitment is going to be there for you long term. What is going to be long term is that damn baby in your belly. That baby going to be there 18 years. And I'm going to tell y'all some real shit. Growing up without a dad made me fucking retarded, fam. Out here with need a whole disability check. I told Social Security, they said, what's wrong with you? I said, I ain't had no dad this whole entire time. They said, oh shit, nigga, we about to pull a bricks truck up to you. We give you disability, SSI, SOS, nigga. You ain't got no daddy. Like your daddy wasn't there for you every morning, every night, showing you that strong masculine presence every day, showing you how to utilize your testosterone so you had to understand life through your mom's estrogen and emotions. Boy, you is slow as hell. We about to give you a SOS check. You're the first person, but we need to give you checks. Just checks. Okay? You is not that cold and not that dope to raise a child by yourself. It's not your mama's fault that your daddy didn't support you. I'm going to tell you again, I don't care what the story is, how it came out a little later that your mama was doing this and doing that. I don't give a damn what my baby mama say. Yeah. I'm about to come see little Tink badass and we about to play some goddamn football. Your mama don't like me, but I don't give a damn because you my son and I just don't want you to grow up retarded. If you seen a person with a left foot but not a right foot, you say, damn, you can't walk right. Same way as you got a mama but you don't got a daddy. You ain't gonna grow up right, motherfucker. You're not growing up right. And don't get into no relationship with a woman and then think y'all gonna match estrogen for estrogen. You cry, she crying. You emotional, she emotional. You eating popcorn and hot Cheetos and pickles right along with her. Baby mama energy. You want a wife, fam. You want somebody that you can create a legacy with. Or else you continue to look at our community, and it ain't just Beyonce and Rihanna. It's little Shaniqua ass on the down the street. That's what we talking about. In 1968, the Kerner Commission declared that the United States was moving toward two societies, one black, one white, separate and unequal. Happily, many of the commission's most distressing predictions have not come true, but with respect to marriage and child rearing, black and white Americans do live in substantially different worlds. Becky Sue and goddamn Ricky Richards ass married with 2 kids, and they ain't even halfway decent. Richard ass ain't never bought no Jordans, ain't never bought no Robin jeans, ain't never made it rain at the strip club. His ass married Becky Sue's ass, and he was a goddamn IT professional. Regular as fuck. But the thing of it, Richard said, you know what, Becky Sue, I'm gonna marry your ass. And even if you don't got the money, but you know that that's your wife, get married anyway. It don't cost no money to get married. You could get married for $100, fam. Cause y'all say, well, what's the difference between just shacking up and getting married? Cause if you leave me, if I'm a woman, if you leave me, you gonna have to run that. You gonna have to run that. I need all of that, fam. You not about to leave me. Cause don't nobody want no goddamn baby mama. If you leave me, I need money. Cause I put all of I had a baby for you, fam. A baby that I gotta fucking change his diaper 3 times a day. Gotta buy this nigga school clothes, Jordans. Buy this nigga a limousine so he can go to prom. Oh, we doing this shit together, fam. You got me fucked up. Black people, though, we say, mama, you gonna take care of everything. And then get on YouTube and act like women are the problem. Like we're not the leaders. We're not the decision makers. I never met a woman that made me do something that I didn't even already want to do. Nor have I ever provided positive energy to a woman and she said, you know what? I don't want that. I don't want none of this positive energy that you giving me with no strings attached. Over the past 50 years, for all Americans, marriage rates have declined, while divorce rates and out-of-wedlock births have climbed. But the negative changes have been greatest among African Americans. So since 1968, every year, Hot Girl Summer gets more participants. And if these dudes said, you know what, we out here looking for wives and we not on that type of time no more, the world will change. But if a girl comes at you sexually and you take it, that's not her fault. And as the billionaire gets knocked up and turns into a baby mama, the whole world is still getting married. In 2020, during COVID-19 pandemic, the wedding industry measured $55.1 billion in a pandemic. I used to work at a 5-star hotel. White people got married every fucking weekend. Black people got married 3 or 4 times out the whole fucking summer, the wedding season. Every weekend, 2 and 3 marriages. It's normal as fuck for other cultures to get married. So don't tell me nothing that is normal to be a fucking baby mama when everybody else is getting married. Every other culture is getting married. The Mexicans, the short Mexicans, the girl 5'3" and the dude is 5'5". She don't got no ass. Her ass is non-existent. But I tell you what she do got. A husband with an F-150. New boy. Big ass truck. Got 18 kids in the back of that F-150. In the cabin, it looked like a goddamn clown circus done got out that F-150. They married. And they probably staying on top of a fucking liquor store. But they figuring this shit out together. Black people, we go through certain types of shit, and it's you not even with your baby mama, fam. Who with your kids right now? Just some random nigga that your mama like, or that your baby mama like, or whatever, that she met at the club. So boom. In 2020, the average cost of a wedding is $28,000. What does this say? This says that you shouldn't even talk to a woman until you got $28,000 ready to spend on that wedding, in theory. Now, I'm giving you European standards and things of that nature, but who gives a fuck? It's better than fucking being a baby mama. It's better than fucking growing up without your fucking daddy. I'd rather my daddy said, you know what, Kyrie's future mama, I'ma marry you and spend $28,000 on a wedding and give you a house so you can raise Kyrie in. Matter of fact, I'm gonna bust this nut in you and have you figure it out for the rest of your life. I'd rather my dad married my mom, fam. What the fuck? Oh, that's white people stuff. No, it's fucking life. So, I'm not about to blame no woman on why women are not getting married. Or black women aren't getting married, when I know for a fact these niggas only care about busting nuts and living in their lower self. And ain't nothing that is a woman's fault about that. Okay? So, congratulations to Rihanna. Congratulations to ASAP Rocky for, you know, tuning in and tapping into baby mama energy. Let's read a little bit. Let's get our ashes together. On January 30th, 2022, a woman who jumped from the New York City high-rise is identified as Miss USA of 2019, Miss Chelsea Christ. The woman who leapt to her death from a midtown high-rise Sunday was a former Miss USA, Chelsea Christ, law enforcement sources told the Post. Shortly before she jumped, Chris posted on her Instagram page, "May this day bring you rest and peace." The 2019 pageant winner and 30-year-old lawyer jumped from her luxury 60-story Orion building at 350 West 42nd Street around 7:15 a.m. and was found dead in the street below, sources said. In devastation and great sorrow, we share the passing of our beloved Chelsea, the former beauty queen's family said in a statement on Sunday. Her great light was one that inspired others around the world with her beauty and strength. She cared, she loved, she laughed, and she shined. Chelsea embodied love and served others, whether Last seen on the 29th floor terrace. Sources said Christ left behind a note saying she wanted to leave everything to her mother, a former pageant competitor herself, who was crowned Miss North Carolina in 2002. Excuse me. The note didn't include a motive for Christ's actions, sources said. Not only beautiful, but she was smart. She was a lawyer. She has a life that anyone would be jealous of. So sad. Sad indeed. And police will continuously investigate this crime, and we'll talk about it. What is it doing now? I feel like it's glitchy. Trying to get my glitch on. Getting my glitch together. Oh yeah. Trying to figure this out. Give me 1 second. How are we looking now? Still not working. All right. It's giving me a little choppiness from time to time, and I can't really control that. So the reason that I shared that story was because I'm really trying to figure out meaning. These past couple of weeks, these past couple of days has me really trying to find meaning in the world. Even as a person that has tried to establish meaning and find meaning, and when you see people that die, that are beautiful, that are young, that are having so much going for them, for whatever reason, if it was negative, if it was a suicide, if it was a murder, it's like, why is life so easy to get rid of for some people? And some people fight so hard to live as long as possible. And some people don't value life at all. So a person that takes a life, a person that leaves life without ever asking or wondering what the reason specifically is for them to live. Or you could say that there's no meaning at all. So let me just kill, or let me just kill myself because this thing is pointless. And honestly, trying to get to a point where It's going to mess up and then it'll get better. I just have to like wait it out. So that's just how it is at the moment. But can't really control computers or the internet. Can do some things, but ultimately they have a mind of their own. But trying to figure out where and how a person finds meaning in life. Is it your career? Is it who you help? Is it all of the things that you do? Can you find meaning in that? And the reality that I've come to find out is that no, you can't find meaning in the things that you do, in the things that you have, in the things that you accomplish. But you can find meaning in figuring out who you are and really developing yourself spiritually, really developing yourself in the forms of personality. Because if you're just saying that everything that I do within this matrix, as far as education, as far as finances, as far as working with people and trying to be this best person that people see me on the TV, and then you'll sit back and say, I've done that thing. I'm the most beautiful person. I'm the most smartest person. I free people. I'm just great at all of life. But I'm not happy at the heart. And some people don't have half as much as people who commit suicide, right? Some people struggle with a lot and still never think about life being a point of a bad thing. And for real, it suck for a lot of people. Life does suck for a lot of people. And if you could sit and say, well, no, I'm one of those people that life actually sucks for, like, no, life is really fucking me up, then your next step is figuring out who you are. Because you can be the richest person, and I really need y'all to understand this. You can be the most successful person, but it's not going to be the thing that satisfies you. I want to communicate what I've been specifically be communicated was that the only thing that will satisfy a human being is to figure out who they are. But nobody knows who they are because that is a personal responsibility. When we set out on this earth to accomplish, to be, to do, we are also setting out to suffer. And the way to remove yourself from that suffering is to get along the spiritual path. These are noble truths. There are many nights as days, and the one just as long as the other in the year's course. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy will lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. So, where we work so hard to show people that, hey, I'm happy. Hey, I'm successful. Hey, I got it going on. Hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And we're looking for that one time where it makes sense. But the reality is that you never find it. Because in order to us to find it, you have to deal with your inner darkness. That's really the key. That's really what Spirit is trying to show and trying to say, that it's not about disregarding your emotional frequency and understanding your emotional intelligence. Where good and bad is not relative to who or what. Good or bad are things that we deal with in the 3D plane because we don't know what else to do. We have no other choice. And so a good day and a bad day and society's rules and society's standards, and we strive to meet them. We strive to say, I'm a man with many accolades. I'm a person with many successes. Love me, appreciate me, wrap your arms around me. And if you do not get that, you will feel like something is wrong with the world. And you'll never figure out that the mystery schools said, know thyself. And it was very simple, very powerful. We've all heard the term, know thyself. Know thyself, know thyself, know thyself. Yeah, really, know thyself. That's it. Know thyself and get a boyfriend. Know thyself and get a job. Know thyself and be successful. Know thyself and do all of the existential stuff. No, just know thyself. The end. Know thyself. Every day, wake up. Know thyself. I'm an ascended master with 50 degrees in spirituality technology. Know thyself. Because if you imagine that you know yourself, that allows you to be depressed, because now you know yourself. You know that you got the degrees. You know that you got the accolades. You know that you have the success, but it doesn't remove your darkness. Your darkness pervades and sits within your being your whole entire life. It just sits and walks with you everywhere you go. And ignoring it doesn't remove it. So finding that balance, working through that balance, is removing the attack thoughts that you attack yourself with every single day. You could just be driving down the street and for no reason, you start thinking negative shit. What if this negative thing happened? And the only thing that's negative about thoughts is that you'll begin to emotionalize with that thought. Oh my God, what if this horrible thing happens? How will I respond? What will I do? Oh my God, right? In reality, what you could have been doing in space of worrying and freaking yourself out was getting a sense of what they say in the mystery schools, know thyself. Every day, know yourself deeper. Stop imagining and stop expecting, because that is suffering. Let's get into some spiritual shit though. I'ma buy cars. All right. Spiritual shit. Today we'll be talking about the 4 noble truths. The truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the end of suffering, the truth of the path leading to the end of suffering. When we talk about suffering, we're talking about a personal endeavor of attack thoughts that come to you for no reason. And where do these attacks come from? What is the source of these attack thoughts? And how do we end these attack thoughts? Any thought that you experience that will have you in a negative space of mind for no reason other than your free thought, your conscious mind allowing to just run free, and you can, understand things at an intellectual level, but that doesn't remove the suffering. But what is suffering? What is suffering? Suffering is a big butt and a smile. Suffering is any thought that you have in the gist or in the ballpark of, I don't have what I need, therefore I am incomplete. Therefore something is quite not right, and somehow I don't have enough. And since you don't have enough, and since something is always quite not right, everything's not perfect, something's incomplete, since you don't have what you need, suffering is always attempting to fill the gap in between of where you're at and where you're trying to get to. Every day you wake up and you imagine if you were to just have a little bit more pleasure, maybe a little bit more security, maybe a little bit more cash, or the things that you could do with cash, then you would no longer suffer. But you do get that. And the suffering just continues and it continues and it continues till it becomes unbearable. And then to escape the suffering, or what you think you're escaping the suffering, you tap into what I like to call busy body energy. Busybody energy is when you wake up and you strive for more, you try to get more money in your bank account, you try to get more degrees in your wall, Give me a moment. Technical difficulties. Yo, yo. Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I'll be knowing. I definitely be knowing when it be glitching. I'll be trying to figure out how to make it stop glitching. One of those nights. One of those nights. So let's try this again. Let's try this again. The Four Noble Truths. The truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the end of suffering, the truth of the path leading to the end of suffering. When we sit and we think about what we need, and if we don't have exactly what we need, we'll internalize that we're incomplete. And if we're incomplete, something is not quite right. And if it's not quite right, we're then internalizing that we don't have enough, and we're trying to get what we have and trying to build what we have so it can be enough. And suffering in this context is always trying to fill the gap, always trying to get the thing that we need. So it's just a little bit more of this, a little bit more pleasure, a little bit more security, a little bit more money, bigger house. And if we don't really put an eye on it, we'll just continuously strive for more and more and more without ever realizing that our strives for more is our cause of suffering. Your cause of suffering is wanting more, yet never realizing that you are everything. And this is the deeper aspect. But since you don't realize that you are everything, what I was talking about before we went into glitch mode was busybody energy. Busybody energy is when we strive for more and we strive for more. And then once we strive for more, we try to get it and hold it. Like getting $100 and trying to hold it. Getting love and trying to hold it. The thing about love, the thing about pleasure, the thing about money is that these things cannot be contained. So what does suffering look like? Suffering looks like you trying to grasp water in your hands and carrying it back to your house. By the time you get home, you don't have no water in your hand. So what do you have to do? Go back to the river, scoop the water up in your hands and try to make it. So your whole life is a contest of how you're going to carry the water from the river back to your hands, back to your house with your hands. Hopefully, what older people realize is that no matter how hard I try, I'll never make it back home with the water. So let me just get some brown pants, some shoes with Velcro on it, and just say fuck it and just live my life freely. When we have our ambitions, when we have our goals as young people, and we try to find our place in life, yet and still it's not a natural point of alignment, it's not a natural progression, then that's like us trying to hold water. See, once we get into our natural alignment or listening or being in our truth, we'll come up with the idea to just get a pail and carry it in a container or develop a new idea for ourselves. See, suffering is a negative thought, and it's like turning your cup upside down. And the universe constantly sends out new information, constantly sends out downloads, just constantly sends out information and downloads. The problem is you already know. And since you already know, you no longer have to receive. And since you know, you are one. If you don't know, meaning that you don't have any knowledge, you are zero. And to become zero and to become one is the true purpose of life. Is not to imagine that you already know what one feels like and present the information or present the ambiance like you have figured it out because you have money, because you're a person that's on TV, or because you have a lot of money. You can still be in the space of suffering. You can still be in the place of suffering. So what do? You focus on change. Change of who? Change of yourself, obviously. It's not that hard. It's only hard when you're so focused on what you think that you need to have in order to feel that self-validation. You hear it within the problem. Like, tell me what your problem is. That's your root of suffering. If you can, let's just say, well, my problem is that I'm just trying to do this thing and I haven't done this thing. Well, what can you do to become a better person that'll allow you to get the thing that you want? Nothing. I'm already perfect. As long as you're perfect, as long as you're not changing, as long as you're closed off to what your higher self has to say, you'll continuously suffer. That's the reality of it. However, when you're just trying to say, no, it's like this, and everybody is on this level. Everybody wants something. But everybody 10 years from now is going to look at what they wanted as some stupid ass shit. When you was in high school and you wanted some Air Force Ones that you couldn't afford with the goddamn clear bottoms, or some clear Air Force Ones or some shit like that, some stupid shit. But you probably worked 2 jobs and did the most so you can afford those Air Force Ones. That's how a person focuses on results, and that's everybody at everybody's level. It's just a person to say, well, I ain't trying to get no Air Force Ones. I'm trying to get a Jaguar. I ain't trying to get a Jaguar. I'm trying to get a house. I ain't trying to get a house. I'm trying to get land. I ain't trying to get land. I'm trying to get a community. I ain't trying to get community. I'm trying to get commercial property. I ain't trying to get commercial property. I'm trying to get rental property. Like, it's just on and on and on and on. And there's nothing wrong with these things. But if it's not you that's getting it and you're doing it for something that you think that will make you, this is what confuses people and sends people into a downward spiral. Constantly waking up and doing the thing that is not within alignment. And it's like, well, maybe quitting and stopping and figuring out other things to do is the best thing for you to do. But if you like, no, I signed a contract with this job paid me so well, but it's causing me stress, it's depressing me, and I'm sacrificing my livelihood for this money. Now, you could say, I'm going to work here, or I'm going to be here, but in the meantime, I'm going to do the inner work that brings about the greatest change. that brings about the greatest transformative understanding of me. It's bullshit that I do that people don't know that I do, and the only thing that I need to do is change my habits. Stop fucking around with my vices. Let some bullshit go. Get a healthy hobby. Start to do the things that I need to do as far as exercise. When you start making those interchanges, you can't help but to get the results. It's a natural occurrence. But the interchange is the most hardest part, because the interchange requires you to concentrate and focus. And that has nothing to do with big fantasy energy. Now, what I want to do is talk to you about something that you can catch yourself into. Like, you could be in your bedroom and your mind could just naturally flip into like being with a girl, or getting a whole bunch of money, or like just wishing that you were somewhere, right? And that's a comfortable place to be in your fantasy world. But you might be like sleeping on an air mattress or something. You might be in a real fucked up place. And really, I'm trying to prepare you for a new moon in Pisces that'll be happening in a couple of months, because you can't escape your reality through your big fantasy energy. Where does big fantasy energy live at? In our music, in our entertainment, in our overall media landscape. Even in our spirituality, where you're doing rituals and spells to create this future fantasy life that's going to make it all better for you, except that's not what it's about. It's about being present. You don't necessarily always need to close your eyes when you meditate. Sometimes you need to just open your eyes and look at your surroundings and accept your surroundings. Because if you look at your surroundings and say, well, I really don't like where I'm at, you just inviting suffering in. And if you look at where you at and you don't want to deal with it, you might mistake fantasy work for meditation work. Meditation and fantasy is two different things. You having fantasies because you can't accept the present reality. So you're going into a form of psychosis, a form of like hallucination with no drugs. You're going into a realm of daydreaming, hoping and wishing that your situation change, which is perfectly fine, but it's much more tangible if you begin to utilize the action steps within the 3D to bring out that change. That way you don't got to really fantasize. You can actually be a co-creator to the actual changes that need to take place in your life. And there's no suffering in that. You lighting candles, you doing tarot cards, you doing all of this shit to not even gain an understanding of who you are. You doing all of this shit to hopefully remove your suffering. If I pull this card, if I do this thing, if I walk this way, if I look this way, then I'll probably get out of my suffering, as opposed to being an integral part of what your life is going to look like. Now, I'm all for the spiritual shit, but I tell you, my intention in reference to the spiritual shit is to integrate my higher self. It's to integrate the non-physical aspects within my being into my current 3D reality. And when I integrate these aspects, quite naturally, I improve my 3D world. The opportunities and the things that happen in result of my rituals are not intentional. Because the only intention is to listen and observe and to just relax. And then try to capture as much as I can on my notes. But other than that, you don't meditate, it's not work. Meditation is opening your eyes and looking at everything around you without judging it. Escapism is looking at everything around you and judging it. And your judgment for good or bad is what makes you unattractive. Not ugly, I said unattractive. Judgment and attraction doesn't live in the same house. If you had a boyfriend or a girlfriend and every time you walked in, they looked at you and rated you on head to toe 1 to 10, you wouldn't be with them for too long. Generally, you want somebody that accepts you for you, because sometimes you wear a bonnet, sometimes your hair is slayed, sometimes you wear leggings, sometimes you wear your work uniform, sometimes you wear jeans, sometimes you wear the legging with the little hole and the lint on the side. All you got to do is tell me, I got these favorite pair of leggings, it got a hole in it, it got lint, and I like wearing them. I don't care. It's just reality. It's not to say, oh, I just wish that a guy would buy me some new leggings one day. That's big fantasy energy. And really, you know, it's cool if your wife or your girl got fantasies and dreams, because it's good. That helps you. That's the fuel for manifesting. It helps. Is like the estrogen is the vehicle. The testosterone is the fuel. It works. But your testosterone as a man, your ability to be present, you can't be fantasizing with your wife. You got to actually put in the fundamental groundwork foundation for what later will be your spiritual high rise. You got to be engaged and in tune in the moment to moment minutia of building a spiritual kingdom. And that spiritual kingdom and those downloads are happening at all times. But is your cup open, and are you ready to receive? Or are you looking at your world and mistaking what you don't like and utilizing fantasy and escape energy and then categorizing it as spiritual development? When in fact it isn't. It just got you out here looking crazy, hoping and wishing, when the facts is all of this stuff, magnum opus, tarot, astrology, spirituality, occult, divination are all tools that help you learn who you are. See, the ancient mystery schools didn't say know yourself and work hard. It didn't say know yourself and escape your reality the best way you can. All they said was know yourself. And it's a very subtle line that I'm trying to point out to y'all, that you could easily mistake your horrible life for being a spiritual master, because everything about your essence and being is big fantasy energy. This is why you don't think you need to do shadow work. You don't give a fuck about your chakras. You don't give a fuck about your energy, because your modality of spirituality is, if I do this, walla kazam, walla kazoo. You think you a stage magician and you're not an alchemical musician, meaning that you're transmuting your lead into gold. What is your lead? Your ego. What is your gold? Your higher self. What planet rules the element of gold? Saturn. Or the sun. Sun conjunct Saturn. New moon energy, transmutation, alchemy, all cool words to say, but when you get into the nitty gritty, what is they're talking about? They're talking about you and who you are and your potential to be who you are, and the effort and energy that will take you to be who you are relies on you to be present. You can't be present and say, you know what, fuck this present reality, let me watch this movie for 2 hours. Let me just scroll on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook for the whole day and not do no work, not take no notes for my book that I'm trying to write. Not work on my screenplay, not take no screenplay courses, not read my screenplay book, just look at everything and say, you know what, that's going to take a lot of work for me to do that. However, it's easier for me to just sit here and watch TV or listen to somebody help me escape from my present reality. all of these spiritual people only perpetuate your big fantasy energy. They live in a world of implications. Well, if you do a spell and you get money, your life is figured out. So you do a spell, you get the money, but you realize, and you know this in your heart of hearts, your life ain't figured out. You did a love spell, got a husband, your life is figured out. You did a love spell, got a husband, in your heart of hearts, you know that your life ain't figured out. You might have manifested from your fantasy energy. A person might have helped you get to a place where your fantasies is realized, but it's still an illusion. It's all illusionary. All of these spiritual people talking to y'all, I feel so bad for y'all that y'all absorb it and y'all imagine it to be something as if that's uniting you with your higher self, when in fact it's just perpetuating the other side of the astral world, big fantasy energy. And as long as you remain in big fantasy energy, you're not going to do no spiritual work, because you don't have to. You can light a candle, you could burn some herbs, you can twerk for Shango. Give Ogun some pussy, whatever the case may be, and everything's going to work out. When it comes to the real question of who you are, you don't have to answer that. You don't have to align and get your chakras together. So, trying to enhance and maintain ourselves is the root of all suffering. And as we try to enhance and maintain ourselves through our jobs, through our bullshit 9-to-5s, this is the energy that allows our ego to thrive. Because as long as you can say, I need to better myself, I'm not who I actually am, then your ego says, I know, because I'm the top dog. So your higher self, which is a shame, plays the background, and your ego, your human, your regular degular, what your mama named you, what your daddy named you, is what you identify as. But you haven't activated yourself. You haven't grounded. You haven't took the spiritual development seriously, because it's all about social stuff, which is cool. We gotta be social. We gotta talk to each other. I can't just talk to myself. You can't just talk to yourself. But even in the space of social group gatherings, if y'all don't want to do the work, then I don't give a fuck. I'm telling y'all what I'm on and what I'm about, but at the same time, I'm not going to force you, nor am I going to kiss your ass if you're not going to do the work. I'm going to recognize that you're not doing the work, which is figuring out who you are, know thyself. You want to be cool with me or cool with my friends and act like that's the way. No, that's not the way. Because I'm busy as fuck a lot of times. So people might think I'm acting funny whole time. My schedule goddamn booked from the moment I wake up. I gotta go this place, that place, do this, do that. Motherfucker say, well, Kyrie, you acting funny. No, I'm not. I'm just doing what I gotta do. You shouldn't be so hell-bent on having a relationship with somebody more than you have a relationship with your higher self. This new moon can bring about great transformations if you directing your energy in the right way. But ultimately, if you're not directing your energy in the right way, you will deal with a world of darkness. And that world of darkness is not bad. That world of darkness is to direct you to the light. Because if you continually, perpetually go the wrong way, it's not as if you're going to allow us to find meaning in life. You'll continuously perpetuate the deeper understanding that most people are internalizing day after day, that life has no meaning. People are trying to find meaning in the external world. People are trying to find meaning in their beauty, but they're not even having the desire or the gnosis or the awareness that you find meaning within yourself. And it might seem completely abstract, but to really get into the minutia of it, you have DNA and you have inner awareness. and you have an ability to understand that which you are aware of, even if it's at a subconscious level. So as you begin to understand subconscious information and do meditation, you will receive transmissions and light codes. And if you act on those transmissions and light codes, you are essentially doing the work. Now, if you do it tomorrow and you don't do it the next day, it doesn't matter. The same way, you can't just be like, well, I was breathing. I gave them double breaths yesterday. So today I won't breathe. And today this is my day where I'm not breathing because I was breathing double time yesterday. If you don't breathe every single day, then you don't live. If you don't find who you are every single day, then you are not doing the work. It's like, well, that's too difficult. It's not too difficult for you to breathe and goddamn every 30-second intervals, or however, every 5 seconds you breathe it in and out. That's not too hard. You doing it every single time you alive. What I'm saying is, know yourself to the same capacity with the same reverence. Meaning that there may be days where you imagine that it's not important if you meditate or not, or it's not important if you get a conversation with yourself or not, because you're so engaged in the external world. You're going to have days like that. But this is the work to redirect those thoughts to get back on the path as fast as you can. The same way, if you hold your breath for a minute, you're not going to say, well, let me just keep holding my breath. You're going to try to get a breath as soon as you can. So whenever you're off the path of knowing yourself, get back on that path. Fuck me. It's not about me. You don't know who you are. And that's so important. In reference to the spiritual development, they telling you all the meditations. These niggas is reading all of the books. They talking about all of the shit that, yeah, if you study Kabbalah, you'll have it all figured out. No, who the fuck are you to even want to study Kabbalah? Who are you to want to study astrology? Who are you to want to study divination? What is divination? It is the act of divining yourself. Within yourself is a whole nation of divine energies and entities. They're called cells. And you have deactivated cells, but then you have activated cells. You have junk DNA, and then you have activated DNA. And this is the work that we are doing, or hopefully we're doing. But with all that being said, I just really wanted to belabor the point and stress the message that, motherfuckers gonna tell you what to do all day, every day. But very rarely will you hear a person fixate and try to motivate and get you to a space that you begin to understand exactly what you are. Don't imagine that you know the answer. Because who you are is constantly evolving, constantly changing, constantly expanding. So once you are completely aware of your thoughts, you do not let your thoughts guide you. You do not let your thoughts take over. Because that's the name of the game. Thinking versus gnosis. Gnosis is knowledge and awareness of who you are from a divine spark. The divine spark is the microcosm of the macrocosm of the universe. The universe is the largest thing, but because it is the absolute largest thing, that means it's the absolute smallest thing. And the absolute small, infinitesimal universe exists within you. This is why we're doing chakra work. This is why we're doing shadow work. This is why we're talking about astrology. So you don't wake up every day depressed and sad and wanting to kill yourself because you don't find no purpose in life. You don't wake up and want to kill yourself because you're comparing yourself to other people when probably they're doing their work and you're not doing yours. Probably they're grounding into the universal electromagnetic grid that squirrels, rats, possums, hippopotamus vibrate off of, but you want to disconnect from it. You think you better than the electromagnetic grid of energy. Your heartbeat don't beat because you think about your heart beating every day. Your heart beat based upon a miracle of technical engineering, electrical impulses, and your realization of this, your deep introspection of this is how you will begin to understand what you are. Now, I'm posing this to you even though I know that it's a large and grandiose questions that would possibly take some of y'all lifetimes to answer. But this is what we talk about when we're talking about the path. I want y'all to look at something and I want y'all to see something, and I'll leave y'all alone, but we've been having a lot of issues and technical difficulties, but you know, it is what it is. Number 4 says the truth of the path leading to the end of suffering. See, a path is a constantly evolving thing that we experience. It's not a finite, a fixated thing that you're working towards. You're not working towards the path. You're either on the path or you're not on the path. And if you ask a question, well, how do I know if I'm on the path or not? Then you're not on the path. That's like me saying, well, how do I know if it's daytime or not? Must not be daytime. Because day is evident. The sun is out. How will we know if it's daytime? You'll know when you see the sun. How will you know when you're on the path? Because you'll know when you're on the path. If you do not know if you're on the path or not, you are not on the path. It's that simple. The reason that you're not on the path is because you're okay with suffering. You wake up in the morning and you acquiesce to the facts that you don't have what you need. You acquiesce to the fact that you are incomplete. You acquiesce to the fact that something's not right, even though you're beautiful, even though you're successful, even though you're talented. I just need a little bit more. What am I missing? I don't have enough. So I have to fill this gap. And your attempt to fill this gap is the truth of suffering, the cause of suffering, but it's also the end of suffering when you stop trying to fill the gap and you try to align yourself with the path. You might begin to say things like, I can never not be on the path. The facts that I'm off the path is the ways of me leading. Since I know what it's like to not be on the path, then I know exactly what it's like to be on the path because it feels completely different. And once I begin to take the path, what is the path? Consistently attempting to know yourself every single day without making rash conclusions in reference to your fears or your implications. Your problem is that you don't have money. And if you have money, everything will be okay. Your problem is you have money, you just don't have love. And if you were to have love, everything would be okay. Your problem is you have money and love, you just don't own enough property. But if you own property, everything would be okay. Your problem is you have money, love, and property, you just don't have a podcast to talk about how good you making all your money, love, and property. So just get a podcast. And so you see how it goes on and on and on, but human beings don't realize the deeper you go on and on and on is the deeper that you fulfill your suffering. And it's not to say that you don't deserve love, money, a podcast, and a mansion, but as long as it's along your path. But I'm saying that if you don't have that, if you're on your path, you don't need it because you're on your path. And this is the absolute truth of your existence. There is no one way to eat a Reese's. Okay? There's multiple ways to skin a cat. So figuring out your path is completely unique and is deeply tied into you uniting and becoming one with your higher self, because your higher self is going to tell you specifically the directions for which you need to take throughout your day. This is why this new moon is so important, for you to merge with your higher self so you don't have to listen to spiritual people on YouTube lie to you. Why are they lying to you? Because you don't know where to go. And if you don't know where to go, you'll ask people for directions. The reality is, if I don't know where you're trying to go, then I'm going to just tell you, yeah, take a left, take a right, the third light, take a left. You like, thank you for those directions. But the reality is, once you do all of this shit that I told you to do, you're not going to be in the place that you want to get to. Just from the mere facts that I just don't know where you're trying to get to. This is why spiritual work is not easy. This is why you dedicate your life to knowing yourself. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing. I stay here to belabor the point so I could hopefully get somebody that can sit back and just like get it. Like, oh, I get it now. Let me focus on figuring out who I am at a spiritual level until it rings true, until I become obsessed with figuring out who I am. And then being directed and led. Trust me, there are many different channels and downloads that I could express to you, but I'm actually on the path. I'm going to give y'all one more thing and I'm going to get off here. You know you're on the path when you're reading and what you're reading is resonating with you. Because you can be reading something and you're forcing yourself to read it. But then you can be reading something and it's like it is feeding you. That's how you know you're on the path. Take notes, absorb those notes, possibly share it with a blog, a vlog, or IG post, and keep that process going of receiving and then sharing. Receiving and then sharing. That's how you know you're on the path. But you're receiving at a level where it resonates with you deeply. And allow yourself to change. Allow yourself to resonate with different things, different energies, different spirits, different deities. They're all along the path to assist you. Nothing is like if you're driving down the road and you see Oshun, same way as you see a tree. If you're driving down the road and you see the most beautiful tree, you don't stop and carry that tree with you along the journey. You observe that tree. You say, thank you for your beauty. Thank you for your majesty. Thank you for your lessons and your